I can hear her. Hi, Jane.
Hi, Daryl.
I don't have any internet. There's no internet.
It's 12:15. Good noontime and welcome to Rotary, everyone. We're glad that you're able to join us today. And Jan, would you please bring us to order today?
Okay, let's pray. Gracious Lord, we give you thanks for this day. We give you thanks for this opportunity that we have to gather together. And Lord, we give you thanks that you give us insight and foresight to think ahead and prepare, even as we know that sometimes when we make plans, you laugh. But you also encourage us to plan and be prepared. So thank you for our speaker and what we're going to learn today. Bless all of our time and bless our service in Rotary. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jan, so much. Brenda, would you care to lead us in pledge today?
Yes, I would. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Brenda. And Pep, you're unmuted. Please lead us in song.
All right. Is everybody ready? R-O-T-A-R-Y, that spells Rotary. R-O-T-A-R-Y is known on land and sea. From north to south to east to west, works your all who serve the best. R-O-T-A-R-Y, that spells Rotary.
Thank you, Pep, so much. Missed your beautiful voice. Let's see.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Let's see. I don't think we have any visiting Rotarians today that I know of. We have several guests here with us. We will get to our speaker, Jane, in just 1 minute, but one of the other guests with Halo Flight is Daryl Nordine. Daryl, looks like you're driving, so I'm not going to ask you to do anything. Maybe when you're stopped, we can get a word from you. And let's see, we also have Susan Moreira with us. And Susan, if you'd like to unmute, you can reintroduce yourself to us.
Hi, I'm Susan. I'm here because next week you're going to have the pleasure or not of my company in a little presentation of Darren's Dar y Servir, a scholarship program for young students here in Monterrey, Mexico. And I'm delighted to share with you this happy session, and I hope to learn something from today's speaker. Hi.
Susan, thank you so much for that. And Richard, thanks for bringing Susan in. And Claudia, thanks for facilitating that. Thanks so much. Terry Fitzwater, you're no stranger to Rotary. Thanks for coming back to join us while we get you pushed through the machine.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And Steve, you brought Lucy back. Thanks so much for that. Would you like to reintroduce her to the folks that didn't meet her last week?
Yes, absolutely. This is Dr. Lucy Villarreal. You can see her way back in the back there. I just put her back there so she couldn't get to my salad. She is our new Educator Preparation Program Director. She's been here with us since February and has done a phenomenal job. She's one of our EDD graduates, doctorate program, and I've known her for a couple of years. She's an amazing person with great energy and has done some amazing things for our EPP program. So we're delighted to have her with us, and she is considering membership with us. So I'm excited about that.
Thanks so much, Steve. We got that proposal last week, and worry not, we did put that through the machine too, and so we'll get her fast tracked. Appreciate you bringing her back. Good to see you, Lucy. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
I don't think I missed anybody else today. Looking around, okie dokie. We have a couple of birthdays. Jackie Ilse, I know I saw her. There she is. There's Jackie. She's got a birthday coming up in 2 days. Janine Reyes, her birthday sister, same day. So thanks so much for being here and happy birthday.
Thank you.
I don't believe we have any wedding anniversaries this week, but we do have a few Rotary anniversaries. Lori Urbanovsky turns a Rotary 1-year-old tomorrow, and she is, as you remember, our Director of Vocational Service. And Veronica Alfaro turns a Rotary 2 years old on this Friday. And she, of course, is our Director of Youth Service. And so if you see them out and about, wish them a happy Rotary birthday. We have a few announcements. Not sure if everyone noticed, but IDOTHA is back. And so we want to extend a warm air hug to you, Pep. Thanks for being back, and we are so glad to see your smiling face again. We certainly did miss you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the air hug and all the prayers. And thank Jan for keeping you all informed as to I wasn't just hiding out. I had a real legitimate reason for not being off. They told me to slow down in the hospital, but I was trying to keep up because when your mind works, your body follows, right? So thank you all for your prayers, and I intend to be smiling on here as much as I can.
Thank you, Pep. Do we have any more Happy Dollar announcements?
Justin, I have one if I may, and I don't know if you've ever talked about this. Congratulations. I want to brag on Claudia, who went around our county and delivered our for those of us that got a Paul Harris recognition, she hand delivered those in a little beautiful bag to everybody. And congratulations to the recipients, and thanks to Claudia.
Thank you, Claudia, for that. I was trying to bring up some fun pictures of Claudia doing that, and here she is in the middle of work. Look at that, hand delivering all of our Rotary prizes. Thank you, Claudia, so much for your hard work and dedication. Any more Happy Dollar announcements for us today?
I think I have one, Justin.
Yes, sir.
Happy to announce that today marks the return of the King Ranch Visitor Program. We were closed since March 20th, so it's been a very odd last 4 months, but we're back up and running on a limited schedule as today. So the visitor program and the museum are both open from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Tuesday through Saturday, and we've got tours going out at 11 and 1 with some special tours available for pre-book. So we're happy to be back up and welcoming guests.
Well, that's fantastic. I'm sure Tom was getting a little cabin fever
Yeah.
being out in the field. So that's great. That's great news.
Sure.
Thanks for sharing that. Anybody else have some good news for us? We're on a roll. Okay, seeing none. We do have a couple of announcements. Rotary Leadership Institute, parts 1, 2, and 3 will be kicking off. Part 1, the first offering of part 1 begins this Thursday, August 20. And so if we have any officers or board members that have not yet completed their Rotary Leadership Institute Part 1 training, then we have that opportunity here. And for those of you that have completed Part 1 and need a 2, then those options are available. And you can go to lonestarrli.com for more information on that, or click the link in your bulletin. Danny, would you care to give us a recap of our most recent community service event?
Yes, I would. I want to thank the coaches from HM King. They did the hard work by loading 500 bags or boxes of groceries to needy families in the area. I was able to call some of the highway patrol people I used to work with. They came to help us with traffic along with Justin. It was a great turnout. It's for people really in need right now. And we did our part. We represented for Rotary.
Thank you so much, Danny. We appreciate you leading us in service there, and we certainly also appreciate you bringing in more contacts throughout the community to help in community service. Thanks so much for that. Without further ado, we have with us a very special guest, Claudia. Where I thought I saw Claudia here. Claudia, would you like to introduce Jane to us? And now I'm not seeing Claudia. Jadine, would you mind oh, there's Claudia. Y'all can battle it out. Whoever wants to introduce her.
Claudia's here. But
Okay, hi. What I'm doing is I'm actually Zooming through my phone, so I don't know how to do a split screen on my phone, but I do have a very nice introduction that I'd like to do for Ms. Haas. So as I go into my next screen, please tell me if for some reason you can't hear me. Okay. 1 second. I'm so sorry. Just bear with me. I'm having technical difficulties. All right. So can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, wonderful. So today we have Miss Jane Dare Haas joining us from Halo Flight. With over 20 years of healthcare and transportation industry marketing experience, Jane is a veteran of advertising circles in South Texas. Jane was the director of public affairs and then the CCSU and helped usher in Texas A&M University Corpus Christi. And for the next 17 years, she worked with Krista Spahn as a marketing director for Spahn South and then as the system director growing with the Wellness Services Division. She led the marketing team at CCRTA for 3 years before joining Halo Flight nonprofit Air Ambulance in 2015. Jane currently works as the Director of Marketing and Membership at Halo Flight, leading fundraising events, media, and public relations initiatives, as well as the Guardian Plan membership program. She's a mother of 3 and a grandmother of 6, 6-year-old Phoenix and 1-year-old Vivian. Jane has a Bachelor's of Fine Arts degree in theater, and she's from the University of Memphis and her master's degree from Texas A&M Corpus Christi. She's a graduate of Leadership Corpus Christi Class 20 on the board of directors of the American Advertising Federation of Corpus Christi and the West Side Business Association and the board of trustees of the Nueces Center for Mental Health and Intellectual Disabilities. So please help me welcome Ms. Jane Haas from Halo Flight.
Thank you.
Jane?
Thank you very much, Claudia, and everyone for having me. I'm hoping you can hear me. Are you able to hear me well? Okay.
Yes,
well,
I hear you
again,
well.
What an opportunity to be in front of this dynamic group. It's like a wall of energy on my computer. I don't know if you all see it the same way that I do. What a wonderful energy. And I want to thank Daryl. Daryl, as you may know, is the chairman of our board of directors at Halo Flight. So he gives excessively, we need to give him a pay raise. I'm afraid we'll lose him. It's been only how many, 20 years, Daryl? About since you've been with us?
Yeah, computer glitched there just as you started speaking, Jane.
I was just saying thank you for your leadership at Halo Flight as the chairman of our board and some of our fundraising efforts as well. I love to start off by asking people, how many, show of hands, how many got up this morning and said, okay, the day that I'm going to fall off the horse? Okay, raise your hand. Nobody? Okay, okay. Well, some of you probably got up this morning and said, today's the day that I'm going to set my house on fire and need to be Halo flighted someplace, right? No, obviously not. None of us plan for an accident or a tragedy. But I am here to say to you that it happens every single day. And what we are blessed to be able to do at Halo Flight is provide services, air ambulance, emergency medical services, 3 to 5 times every single day. Last year, 1,309 patients, or missions, as some folks like to call them, were flown, getting people who might not have a chance to have a better outcome had they not gotten to care quickly. 1,309 of our family members, our neighbors, our friends that needed the emergency air medical of Halo Flight. Let me tell you a little bit about today, who we are, what we do, and why we do it. And I think probably for me and for you, get involved in Halo Flight. The program began 33 years ago. Quick story, there was a tragic accident in South Texas, in Brooks County, drowning experience. And had the young woman been able to get to care quickly, she might have survived. But the story was that she was too care and she didn't survive. Her friends and her neighbors said that they're not going to let that keep happening. It just cannot keep happening. And they mortgaged homes, they raised funds, they literally wrote checks to make sure that Halo Flight could provide care for the next time a friend or a family member needed the life-saving care that can be provided. And honestly, it wasn't pretty at the beginning. They rented helicopters. They allowed all kinds of great to be a part of that. Fast forward 33 years of uninterrupted service, we are now able to say that we cover 20 counties of South Texas, 28,000 square miles of our neighbors' yards and our backyards and our playpens, our recreational areas of South Texas, 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, every day. There's no holiday for Halo Flight. 3 to 5 times a day, we're transporting a South Texan into a higher level of care via our helicopter fleet. We aircraft, we use Bell products primarily right now. We have 3 Bell 407 has been stopped. But we also have a Bell 429, which is a dual engine aircraft with IFR capability. It's our newest aircraft. And IFR is instrument flight rules. For those of you that are familiar with aviation, you understand that when the weather gets bad, sometimes aircrafts cannot fly. We can't put ourselves at risk. We don't do any favors to our patients if we put them at risk either. But with the IFR, we plot our pathway through the skies like airplanes do, like fixed wings do. And we were able to get to more service provision as a result of that. I said currently we have 4 because we're in the process of achieving another aircraft, purchasing another aircraft our service to make it even more service oriented to South Texans. And that new aircraft will also be an IFR. We expect to get that aircraft on base in early September. We're excited. When we did the studies to understand how much a difference IFR services make to South Texans, we learned that we would probably be able to increase service to 350 more missions a year if we had that IFR aircraft. In 6 months of 29, we achieved that. So we knew immediately this is the type of service South Texans deserve. So that's why we're getting the second IFR. Everything that we do every day is about safety and patient care. Those two are our paramount goal every single day. One of our most recent events for patient care is pre-hospital blood on board our aircraft. Patients often have internal injuries. Let me tell you a quick story about our very first pre-hospital blood patient. Little Matthias, darling little boy, his sister Destiny, out at grandma's house on the ATV, uncle's pulling the crank. Matthias had his foot on the gas pedal. And I can tell this story firsthand because I had a great opportunity to visit with Mom, Matthias, and Destiny. weeks after all this happened. And he was so excited to tell his story. But anyway, they're all strapped in. Engine turns over, boom, it takes off. Little Matthias doesn't look like he's injured. Destiny looked pretty banged up. We dispatched the helicopter for Destiny. Mom is taking Matthias by ground to the ground ambulance, and he begins to crash. The ground ambulance crew calls Halo Flight. We send a second aircraft. Little Matthias gets on board. No external injuries that anybody can see. We get about out from Driscoll, and he begins to crash. His vital signs go down, down, down. The nurse on board turns to the medic on board and says, he's going to be our first one. And he was. So we transfused him on board the aircraft, landed at Driscoll. The doctors he would not be here. He's a precious little child, precious gift. He's been a part of our Halo Flight family since then because his mom and dad realized what a difference it makes. So blood on board the aircraft is just one of the things that we are constantly doing care that they can. Recently, the Texas Department of Health Services awarded us with the 2019 Air Medical Service Award, which was quite an honor. But again, what we do as a nonprofit organization is provide care, not because we get recognized, not because it's great news coverage, not because it gives Daryl a reason to get up every morning to go in to take care of us, but because people in South Texas love their wide open spaces. And when you need care, you need it quickly. So what we do is provide that care, whether you can pay your bill or not. As a nonprofit organization, we are constantly raising funds to fill the gaps unmet by payers, insurance that we bill for services that we provide. And we're also doing fundraising events on a very regular basis. 2020 started off very enthusiastically. We had great plans, more pre-blood program, checks on the aircraft, more fundraisers, I call them friend raisers, to tell our story, to get the word out, to make sure that South Texans should they need us. But none of this year has turned out the way that any of us believed that it would. And so we had one fundraiser for this year, so we're down 3 fundraisers. And so we're constantly talking to folks like you about what we do, who we are, why we, and letting you know that you can plug in to support Halo Flight. One of the easiest ways and practical ways for everyone to be involved in our Guardian Plan. I'm an NEC member. I have NEC electricity at my house. I joined the NEC program, Guardian Plan program through NEC for $1 a month. And you can do the same thing. If you have SPEC, you can do the same thing. Many city utility departments, City of Beeville, for example, allow their utility members to put the Guardian Plan on their bill for $1 a month. You can also go to our Halo Flight website, haloflight.org. Guardian is the top navigation tab on the right. It's easy. I have an SSL certificate on the site, so you won't have to worry about anybody getting your data or your credit card history. $35 a year covers everybody that lives in your household. Quick story, because I'm a storyteller. I have a 6-year-old grandson, as you know. When he turned 5 years old, his father bought him a motorcycle. Are y'all listening to what I'm saying? A motorcycle. My little baby, who was in a pull-up at Grammy's house the weekend before, got a motorcycle for his. Luckily and thankfully, he has all kinds of protective gear. Luckily and thankfully, he has not had any accidents. But what Grammy got for him was the Guardian. You know, you never know. We don't, as I said at the beginning, we don't plan for these accidents, but these accidents happen. And so we want you to know that in 2021, we want to invite you to our Sky High Rollers Casino Night. Come and have fun and support the mission. Hopefully we'll have our golf tournament next year, which we didn't get to have this year. Our dove shoot next year, which we didn't get to have this year. Our cook-off in Lagardo, which we didn't get to have this year. Us on LinkedIn. We hope you'll find us on Twitter. Pay attention to the things that are going on and participate. We're going to have a virtual fundraising event coming up September, October that I think is going to be a lot of fun for people. But again, the Guardian Plan is the easiest way for everybody to say, I don't want it to happen to me, and I want to make sure that Halo's there. If it does, Guardian covers me, so plug in. I want to open the floor if anybody has questions about what we do, how we operate.
Let me say something first, if that's all right, Justin.
Absolutely.
First of all, I'd like to thank Jane. She just does a tremendous job maintaining a touch points in the community. We also have Diane Garza, which has a somewhat similar role as Jane's, except it's directed specifically to the medical community. So every day we have people at every hospital, we have them at clinics, we have them at the stat care, et cetera. And making communications better for our first responders and for those people who are going to be in immediate care. And we have about 50 employees in Halo Flight, and I think there's 12 of us on the board now. There are several from the outlying areas, and I want to speak to Clayburgh and Kennedy County. Bill Colston is on the board. Connie Womack is on the board from our area, and then I am on the board. Past board members have included Eddie Yocklin and Lynn Yocklin for a little while, and Alice Mendoza. So Clayburgh County is well represented, and we're trying to look out for the people in the outlying areas especially. So we have some board members from the Beeville area and a few from Corpus, but most of our service is south and west of Corpus, most of our flights. And that's why the attention to detail on safety, the attention to detail on the aircraft and the equipment that we can carry, the blood, et cetera. So many things that Jane's mentioned, and the staff just does a tremendous job. The pilots, the nurses, the paramedics, it's incredible. I do want to mention Luther Young. The Dove Shoot that we just canceled is named after Luther Young. It was his brainchild. And in 2008, I approached him for support of Halo Flight for a fundraiser to buy a new aircraft. And he kind of laughed and said, I don't have any money, but I've got an idea. Well, that idea has brought in, I think, over $300,000 now. This would have been our 13th year. So Lauren and Creason and Patty Young are all still involved. And we're just always looking for opportunities to improve the organization and meet the specific needs of South Texas. So that's it.
Great additions, Daryl. Thank you.
So Jane and Daryl, what's the territory that y'all run? You kind of touched on it earlier, but what are kind of the extremes of your geographic area that you service?
Sure. Well, the party line is 28,000 square miles, but that really doesn't define it. I've got a map here, but it would be very difficult for you to see. We have a base in Beeville, so we're to almost the Pleasanton area. Then we began to border with another area of service from San Antonio. We go west, as Daryl mentioned. And there's another service often in Laredo, so we don't go quite as far by 911 call to Laredo. To the again, there's services in the valley, so 911 isn't gonna call us. But about 40% of what we do, 911 call. 60% is what we call an inter-facility transfer, like we do with Driscoll Children's Hospital. Service for children in South Texas with Driscoll as our partner. So often we're going into the Valley, or we're going to Laredo, going Austin, San Antonio, Houston, not only with children for Driscoll, but other patients. And let me give you an example. Regrettably, in South Texas, we don't have a burn unit. So as I mentioned earlier in my introduction, burns are of a particularly bad injury for people that don't have a lot of time for care. It's imperative that burn victims get care rapidly. And so we have to take those patients closest, most appropriate facility for every patient that we pick up. Burn to San Antonio. We're often taking people in the Valley for neurological work, or to Houston, or to San Antonio, or even to Austin. We've been taking a lot of patients recently to Galveston for various reasons. The current health pandemic that we're in has made capacity different than normal. Nothing is normal anymore, as we all know. And so some of our care, the services that we are providing for our patients, because even off of our traditional normal path. We don't normally take a lot of patients to Galveston, but we've done 5 or 6 flights in the last weeks. So 26 counties, but it's a 16 county RAC, the Coastal Bend Regional Advisory Council RAC supervised area is where 911 calls come to us for help, but then we go outside of that area as a county, Bexar County, and even into the specialized hospital in the Valley, Renaissance.
Thanks, Jane. And so I wanted to, show some of the pictures that you sent to us. If you wanted to mention, so is this one of your newer birds?
This is one of the 407s. This is one of the original aircraft. I think, most people, when they talk about being halo flighted, sometimes I think they think we have fixed wing. We are a rotor company only. At one point in time, Halo Flight did have a fixed wing aircraft. We currently do not. At one time, Halo Flight even had a ground unit. Currently, we do not. We're focusing all of our energy right now on rotorcraft service. So this is one of the Bell 407s. It's a little smaller than the 429. It's single engine aircraft. And it's not IFR, which is why we are going to be the first air ambulance company in the state of Texas to have a single engine 407 IFR aircraft. It's our GXI aircraft that we hope we can invite people out to see, but you'll see it if you'll plug in. It'll be coming early in September to South Texas. We're excited about that service.
That new aircraft, by the way, not only are we the first in South Texas, it is the first aircraft that Bell has made with IFR on a 407. So we're the number
first in the world to have it. Yeah, not just South Texas. You're right, Daryl. Absolutely. Talk briefly about, in the foreground is the Bell 429. That's the bigger aircraft, the IFR. The 429 on the aircraft. This is currently our newest aircraft, traditionally based in the Beeville office, the Beeville base. We have a base in Beeville, Texas, a base in Alice, Texas. We have an aircraft dedicated for Driscoll at their transport office, which is at the Corpus Christi International Airport. And then our 4th aircraft that we maintain is for preventive maintenance. We're always keeping aircraft in maintenance, rotating them through for maintenance, so that when it's your turn on the accident wheel, there's always going to be an aircraft ready. It's not going to be, oh, we're changing the oil today, we can't go. No, there's always going to be an aircraft ready. The 3 base aircrafts have an availability rate of in the 99% all the time. And that's what's important. What doesn't do South Texans any good if the aircraft is not available for them. So our philosophy of keeping a vehicle always in rotation for maintenance makes that availability almost 100%, which we're delighted for. The other part of this photograph that I think is many people may be familiar with is that we are landing on the highway on a regular basis. So we appreciate everybody to move past the aircraft, not, just please cooperate with our crew for just the brief moment that it may take us to onboard a patient and get out so that you can get on. I hear harrowing stories about people not abiding by the barricade and rushing towards our aircraft. We appreciate that. The next thing Justin's trying to load up is a video I sent him that I thought is so interesting. It's called The Day in the Life of a Helicopter.
And Jane, what I'll do is I'm going to leave the sound off on the video. That way we can keep going through questions. And so while we have that going through in the background,
You can see from the video, it's a small unit, room just enough for the pilot up front. To the pilot's left is the feet of the patient. The patient's face is to the nurse in the back, and the paramedics right behind the pilot. Going across country, across the South Texas scenery, landing on the helipad here in front of Driscoll.
I've got a question for you, Jane.
Sure, Crystal.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that all of Texas A&M University Kingsville employees are automatically given a Halo Flight membership upon employment.
Yes, ma'am.
If one of our businesses in Kingsville would like to also set that up for their employees, who would they contact and what would be the process?
Would welcome their call anytime, or they can contact me via the email address that's on our website. But it's Jane H at HaloFly 0509. So I appreciate that, Crystal. And she's correct. The university had the wisdom, the vision to provide this Guardian Plan for all university employees. Clayburgh County has done the same thing. We have a with the county, the judge, and all the commissioners, and so every county employee is provided the gift of the Guardian Plan as well. Many businesses in the also seen to provide this for their employees. It's such a gift because, as Tom Clausen, our executive director, says, worst day of your life is the day you need Halo Flight. And that's true. The severity of care that we care for is very, very real. But he goes on to say, the second worst day of your life is the day you get our bill. Air ambulance service is an expensive proposition to maintain all the professionals that we have, all the sophisticated aircraft that we have. Blood Project took 2 years to get off the ground because not only do we have to have freezers for the blood in the bases, then we have to have coolers on board the aircraft, but before we transfuse it, we have to have heaters to warm the blood up, all the supplies relative to the transfusions, times 2 bases, then we have to buy the blood. So, but it makes the difference. It is absolutely ideal. It's making a big difference. There was a question, has COVID, and I missed it. Let me see if I can pull it back up. Has
COVID affected the number of emergencies
and the injuries? Great question. I appreciate that, Susan. And absolutely, it has affected the profile of our patients because I mentioned earlier, some facilities don't have the capability of caring for the patients that need to be on respirators, need to be on ventilators. ICUs are closed in some areas because of capacity. So these patients have to get to a higher level of care. So we have flown many, many COVID patients. We treat every patient as if he or she had COVID because we can't afford for our crew to be infected and to be shut down, the service shut down. We're having to take patients to places like Galveston, New Braunfels, San Marcos, other places, not our traditional destinations, because facilities have no longer have not had capacity to care for these patients. So it absolutely has been a game changer for us. Our crews are working. Let me give you another quick story. You can well imagine you land on a tarmac when it's 100 degrees outside. Inside that aircraft, sitting on that tarmac while they've offloaded a patient or getting ready to onboard a patient, can get into the 110, 112 degree heat very, very fast. Add to that, these men and women, these nurses, medics, and pilots have on Nomex flight suits. They have on disposable wraps. They have on face masks. They have on helmets with NVGs and communication devices sitting in that aircraft, waiting for that aircraft to cool off so they can get their patients placed. We have air conditioning on the aircrafts, don't misunderstand, but our patients aren't in these Nomex suits. It is amazing what these men and women do every single day, day and night, for the benefit of South Texans. I'm just in awe of in awe.
Well, Jane, Daryl, thank you both so much for coming in today. I know that we've been wanting to hear from Halo Flight for a real long time. And so I know that this was definitely a worthwhile presentation to all of our members. So we certainly appreciate you coming in today. And if you'd like to stick around for a little while in case there are any more questions,
Sure.
we do want to wrap up for today. There are a few things in the Rotary world that we have this week and beyond. Does anybody else have anything for the good of Rotary today? Seeing none, it's time to go to our weekly Paul Harris drawings. So let's see who we have on the leaderboard. All right. And let's see, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Group 2, Jay, Dean, and Danny, thanks so much for participating. We'll go into the drawing for the quarterly Paul Harris drawing there. And if you will please join me in the 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth?
Hey.
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? That's it for us today. Thanks so much, everybody.
Bye.
Great program.
West
Thank you.
Bye,
And
guys.
now, Jane and Daryl, since y'all are still here, I know that another question was, why is it better to be a member rather than just letting insurance take care of that?
Jane,
And
you're
Jane-
muted.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. Great question, because the purpose of the program is everywhere we're directed to fly, regardless of a person's ability to pay. But that second worst day when you get our big plan. So the way it works, if you're flown by Halo Flight for a medically necessary flight and you out of pocket, the out of pocket is waived by virtue of your membership in Guardian.
God bless you, Crystal. Yeah, Jane, you broke up a little bit.
Oh,
A real current example, a friend in South Texas, and you would know the name, son was flown. The bill was $30,000. And they had not given, we did not have their insurance information or anything. So the friend got a bill for $30,000 and inhaled deeply. The good news is they do have Guardian plan, and we did bill Blue Cross Blue Shield. So they will have no expense. If they had not had Guardian, they probably would have still gotten a bill for $10,000 or so. Insurance may pay a portion, but won't pay all, maybe 60 to 80%.
or sometimes less. It just depends on the riders on the policies.
Right.
So Daryl said I broke up. So just to make sure everybody is clear, it's an out-of-pocket reduction on the cost of service. That's what the Guardian plan provides.
Very much.
Can
Helpful.
people like pay for another family to have like a gift it
Yes.
forward program?
Absolutely. I bought it for my grandson. When you go to our website, would you like to gift this? You know, holidays, Mother's Day, Father's Day, a perfect gift. Share it with that yours that's probably going to be the next person we pick up off the side of the road. I mean, it's a great peace of mind. People that may have limited resources but may be ill, it's a great way to say, I care for you. $35.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for that, Jane and Daryl. Thanks for being here. Pep, it was wonderful to see you again. So glad that you're up and running and kicking. I know you're kicking. And so we will be here same time, same place next week. Claudia, thanks for facilitating. Everybody have a wonderful afternoon and have a good day.